Alright guys, before we get into today's video, just remember, July 9th, there is some huge news and huge project that I've been killing myself over that is dropping. So don't forget, July 9th, there's going to be a video that will drop at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on July 9th that will explain this whole entire project, and the actual thing itself will release at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time along with a video. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Alright guys, so we did get the wheels from Joe's neighbor Brian. Shout out Brian. They're in pretty good condition. They just need to be cleaned up. And I actually got the tires came in today as well too. It is crazy hot. It's funny, if you check my videos from like a couple weeks ago, there were storms and shit going on, and now it's like literally over 100 degrees. But the tires came in for those wheels. Check these out. So I went with some Toyo Proxies. These are like a good summer tire. So Toyo Proxies, you guys are probably wondering why I didn't do like a drag radial. Well, that's because these are gonna be like the daily driver tires on the Lariat Sport wheels. So it's a nice tire. Should do a little better than the tires that are on there and should look a little better. So when the fourth one comes in later, we'll go get these mounted. All right, finally had to get these tires mounted on the wheels. Look at that. Work Truck Express. All right, one last look before we put the Lariat Sport wheels on with the Toyos. So, haven't done the lowering kit yet, which is gonna make the biggest difference, but at least you guys can see what it looks like with Lariat Sport wheels. And here we go. All right guys, check this out. Look how much better that looks. What's cool is these are literally factory wheels off a Lariat Sport. Now they do make Lariat Sport wheels that come in black that are like a special edition, but I kind of like it's like a hyper silver almost like gunmetal gray, but I think it's hyper silver, something like that. But man, it's still stock height, but it looks so much better already. Look at that. Oh man. I'm really interested to see what this thing looks like lowered, but that's a stock height 4-wheel drive F-150 XL model. So we did the Lariat Sport wheels, Toyo Proxies. These are directional tires. These are 285, 50, 20. So I think this is a good like all-around tire. They're actually really inexpensive, but it's a good all-around summer tire. Probably not the best in winter conditions. I think they'd do okay in the rain, but definitely not snow or anything. But this thing looks killer. I don't know why that guy was revving his engine, but man, on the truck in the last video, as you guys saw, but you can see this thing is just way too damn tall. So to fix that, we got a Mustang. Just kidding. Tank Sting looking good as always. But we got some IHC suspension. Now, a lot of people do the VAS specialty suspension because it comes with like a Viking shock in the back and a Viking coilover in the front. However, I don't want to go that route yet. I know I'm going to in the future once I start drag racing it a lot, but right now it's my daily driver, but I wanted it lower. And I wanted the pieces that come with this, and then I can actually still keep this kit and upgrade let me turn this light back on, upgrade the shocks and coilovers and still keep this kit. So what's cool about this kit is it flips the rear, it drops it about 5 to 6 inches. I think 5 inches, it's 5 or 6 inches in the rear, but it's got the relocation brackets to flip the axle. It's got drop shackles in the back, some shocks for the rear, and then what's cool is it's got upper and lower control arms for the front. So you get new ball joints and new control arms, which is nice because that'll help the ride, and it'll drop the front, I think, 3 inches. So like I said, what's cool is this will utilize the stock front struts, you know, the spring and shock in the front. And so when I want to upgrade to a Viking coilover, I can keep all this stuff and just upgrade the front struts to Viking coilovers in the front. and I can switch these shocks out super easy for Viking shocks in the rear. So this kit is gonna be awesome. It's gonna make the truck look super good. And then, like I said, once I start racing it a lot more, then I can upgrade to the actual Viking shocks and coilover in the front. But for now, we're gonna do the IHC suspension. So tonight, I just got off work. I'm gonna do the rear, and then I think in tomorrow, probably in the same video, but tomorrow we'll do the front. I'm gonna try and knock out the rear first, because I figured if I can get the rear done today, I can still drive the truck to work tomorrow, and it won't look so bad. It'll just have, you know, the Cali lean to it. But if I do the front today and not the back until tomorrow, it might look kind of weird driving it tomorrow. So we're gonna get the back tires off, get it jacked up, and start working on the rear. All right, so we got her jacked up, wheels are off. We're gonna take the shocks off first, and then the U-bolts, and then lower the axle. Pretty easy. U-bolts are off, shocks are off. It is a work truck, so there's gonna be some dirt and some rust. I degreased everything earlier, just so nothing was gonna seize up on me. However, there's a lot of rust down here because it was a work truck, and we're gonna get pretty dirty working on this thing, but so far so good. So now essentially what we gotta do is get these leaf springs on the other side of the axle. So we're gonna lower the axle, get the blocks out of here, because you're not gonna reuse the blocks. I don't think you have blocks if you're two-wheel drive, but since four-wheel drive, you gotta remove the blocks. But try to lower the axle and then kind of shimmy the axle this way. See if we can get that leaf spring under, and then shimmy it the other way and try and get the leaf spring under the axle on this side. And before we do that, actually we gotta unbolt. I think we're gonna unbolt it from that side, and then yeah, we'll try and get the axle underneath. All right, so in their instructions, they have a side exit exhaust. So we could drop the leaf on that side and totally remove the leaf, but you know, we're just gonna trim the exhaust here.
I don't see why we don't just remove the leaf.
Nope, we're trimming it. Nope, sorry. Less weight.
Less.
Alright guys, so like I said, we were probably only gonna have time to do the rear last night, which we did, and we got that lean going on, but it looks 1,000 times better. Look how low the rear is. Whew. That thing is gonna be slammed. So obviously it's got the lean to it. So here in a couple minutes, I'm gonna start taking off. I'm gonna get the front jacked up, get the tires off, and we're gonna start working on the front. Now the front actually replaces someone thought that'd be funny. The front actually replaces the upper and lower control arms, comes with new ball joints and a few other things. So that's what we gotta do on the front. But man, it's crazy what a set of wheels and tires and then just lowering it can do for a truck. Because from here, it doesn't show that the bumper, you know, because the bumper and the grill aren't paint matched. But from like here, it kind of looks like everything's painted the same color. And man, it's a good looking truck. I did drive this thing around last night, and yeah, it doesn't ride the best, but you can see got the shock in there, flip kit down there. There is not very much room in there anymore. But yeah, I have heard a few people, or read that a few people online said that this kit doesn't ride the best, but like I said, I'm gonna switch out the shocks for all Viking stuff and utilize their flip kit, because flip kits are kind of all the same, with drop shackles and then flipping the leaf. And then this one, I really wanted the front because you get all new upper and lower control arms, which that thing, you know, it's got almost 100,000 miles on it, so I'm sure the ball joints and all the bushings are close to worn out anyways. So now to have nice upper and lower control arms, new ball joints, all new bushings on the control arms, so that should help it ride better. Plus, like I said, when I switch out the shocks, then it should really ride a lot better. And then probably the last thing I want to do as far as suspension, besides like traction bars and things like that, is I want to get the Hellwig sway bar in the rear, because that, I guess, tightens up the rear a lot. So I'll see you guys in a little bit when we start working on the front. All right, so we got the spindle chilling over here. I just need to support it out of the way so it's not pulling on that line, but the upper ball joint tie rod end and lower ball joint removed from the spindle, and then you get this little 15mm socket off the CV shaft or nut with a socket, and it'll come right off, and then spindle comes off pretty easy. Next thing we gotta do is unbolt the strut. There's studs. I don't know why they did studs here, but there's studs at the bottom, so we gotta undo the nuts, and then when we pull the strut out, we actually have to cut these studs out of the strut, out of the bottom mounting points, and then replace those with hardware that they provided, and then pull lower control arm out, upper control arm out, and then we can reinstall. Alright, so upper and lower control arms are off. So you can see these are the studs that are in the struts, the bottom mounting brackets for the struts. So we gotta pretty much like cut off right down here as low as you can without hitting the strut, because you do reuse the stock ones, so you don't want to mess them up. But cut as low as you can. Then we're just gonna try and hammer them out. Alright, it's kicking my ass a little bit, but got this side done. Just have to grease all the Zerk fittings, but everything's done on that side. And what I was thinking is, see, I didn't cut these studs this time, and it gives you more contact patch for the hammer, because the problem is when we cut them, I was kind of hitting this a little bit, hitting the bushing on the other one. So this time I left them long, and they popped out easier. So disregard grinding these. Just give them a good couple whacks and they'll come out. So just started on the passenger side. Got everything removed. Got the upper control arm already in there. So now, since I got those out, I can actually mount the strut up and get the lower control arm on. Woo! That thing kicked my ass. So once I did the driver's side, first time doing something always takes you a little longer. I did follow the directions, but you know, some stuff doesn't come apart as it's supposed to, because it does have a lot of miles on it. It's got some surface rust. But passenger side, I think I knocked the passenger side down in like literally 30 minutes. I am missing a few grease Zerk fittings, so I did work outside, so maybe they weren't there. I looked before, but like I said, maybe they weren't there. And I'm missing one cotter pin, so I gotta go get another cotter pin. Got to get some grease Zerk fittings, grease it all up, because you got to fill all the ball joints with grease and all that good stuff. And then when we put the wheels on, it's going to need an alignment bad. I can already tell just looking at it. So we're going to do that and then get an alignment, but I'll show you guys what it looks like once we grease everything up. So moment of truth, it's super low. I'm going to have to adjust the camber and the control arms, because yeah, it's not even gonna be able to probably drive like that. So, and obviously it's actually gonna settle down a little more in the front. Gosh, that tire's driving me crazy. It's gonna settle down a little more in the front once I drive it around, but look at that side profile. That's like the perfect height to me. But yeah, so with doing upper and lower control arms, new ball joints, obviously the suspension's all out of whack and it's gonna need a good alignment up front. But what I'm probably gonna do here in a second is jack it up and try and center the control arms a little bit. Yeah, because I need to be able to drive this thing to the alignment shop. But man, that thing is a perfect stance, if you ask me. And like I said, it's probably gonna settle down a little more in the front once I drive it around, because the back yesterday, it was a little high and I drove it around and it slammed the back. So probably the same thing with the front, but we're gonna have to center up the control arms a little bit so we can get this thing driving somewhat straight. All right, I adjusted the tie rods a little bit so at least the tires were straight. They definitely are cambered out at the top, but at least I adjusted the tie rod so it should drive decent. Also got a little shorty antenna on there. Can never have the ugly stock one on there, but I'm gonna drive it around a little bit and then we gotta get this thing in alignment. But overall, it kicked my ass. Suspension, lift kits, lowering kits, any of that stuff is never fun. This one, once I did one side though, it was actually pretty easy. Yesterday was a little bit easier because Chase and I were just knocking it out. Front was a little bit trickier just because I was by myself. But like I said, once I figured out how to do one side, it really wasn't bad. So all in all, I think we did 4 hours yesterday. Today I put in like 6 or 7, so 10 to 11 hours, somewhere in there. It's not too bad. And I don't know how much someone charges to install, but if you don't want to sweat your ass off in this Texas heat, doing it outside, you may just pay someone to do it. But we're gonna get this thing in alignment. Hopefully you guys enjoy the updates and the mods that we're doing to the F-150. I love this little truck. It's so much fun. It's coming along pretty quickly. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys on the next one. Yeah, whatever. You know, we had to come clean the truck now that it's got some wheels, tires, and it's lowered. She's looking good. Kennedy, how's the truck ride?
Did you say it feels like riding on a horse?
It's a little bouncy in the back. We'll get that fixed though. A little bit. Boy, that thing looks sick. Oh man. Wait till you see what we do next to it. It looks so much better. Just lowered. Some wheels, tires, and Kennedy just ruined the whole car wash by hitting the windshield wipers. Kennedy is the worst driver, by the way. Sheesh. Sheesh. Oh, that thing looks dope. Oh, that's awesome.